And hello, everyone. How you doing? It's Dave Bondy. We are live. We did not have a countdown, so not sure what's going on with that. Usually we have a countdown to begin the show, but no countdown tonight, so I apologize for that. Great to see everyone here. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. I really appreciate it. Tonight is once again another cold night here in Michigan. We're going to be below zero, I believe, waiting for it to get warm. At some point, it's going to get warm here in the state of Michigan. I think a week from now, we're supposed to be getting into the 30s. That would be nice. That would be really warm if it's going to be 30 degrees at some point. Wow. But it is cold here in Michigan. Florida even saw snow. So I don't even know if any of you are watching from Florida, but there was snow in Florida yesterday. Wow. Indeed. Lady is shy. Thank you. Thank you, everyone who's watching on all of the platforms. I really appreciate it. We are streaming live right now on YouTube, Twitch, X, Rumble, Locals, and Substack. Great to be here, everyone. Thank you for watching on Substack and Locals. For all of you who are paid subscribers, thank you so much. Viola is watching on YouTube. Thank you very much, Viola. Good to see you. If you would like to become a paid subscriber, I would really appreciate it if you could do that. There should be a link or a button on your screen to become a paid subscriber. You can do so. That would help me to continue my mission of independent journalism. K Silly Self, you can never trust Michigan weather. If you know, you know. No, you cannot trust Michigan weather whatsoever. Thank you, everyone, for watching on all the platforms that we have here tonight. So tonight, we're going to be talking about something that happened in Michigan, but it also happened across the country. We're talking about students that walked out of class in protest of ICE. And I'm not talking about the cold weather. I'm talking about immigration's customs enforcement, the situation that's going on around the country with ICE, but more focused on what happened in Minneapolis with what's happening there. And this past Friday, there were several schools in Michigan, many schools throughout the country. They walked out of class. Students walked out of class because of what was happening with ICE. And the one district, school district, Rochester, Michigan, the superintendent put out a note in Rochester. And I'm going to bring that up on the screen right now. I want to show it to you. Now, I want you to make your own opinion of what I'm going to show you right here. Let me bring this up on the screen. This is from the Rochester superintendent. He said, and I'm going to read it for you. He says, as you may be aware, businesses and schools across the country are participating in a national shutdown. Now, he goes on to say, some Rochester high school students organized a respectful and peaceful walkout today. He says the demonstration was not, I repeat, was not a school-sponsored event. However, the safety of our school community is always our priority. He said the Oakland County sheriffs and partners were available to ensure a secure and orderly environment for the students. It does not appear as if those students were disciplined for walking out of class. At the end of this here, he says, at Rochester Community Schools, we strive to develop innovative, self-directed learners who think critically, communicate effectively, and persevere to positively impact the world. Really, positively impact the world. Our students acted responsibly, respectfully, and peacefully to express themselves. Well, my question was, would they have allowed them to do that for Charlie Kirk? Would they allow them to do that if they were support of ICE? It's a good question. And then you get into the situation as to should a school district be promoting activism in which my opinion only, not journalism, my opinion is that in that situation, the school district was promoting activism right there. They said they did not organize the event, but they didn't discipline any of the students for walking out of class. And there have been walkouts throughout history, obviously. And that's absolutely fine. If you're a student and you want to walk out of class, walk out of class. But there's a good chance possibly that you're going to be disciplined for doing so. So I have an interview coming up in just a few minutes. Stick with me. Don't go anywhere. With a Rochester parent from the Rochester School District. Now, her child goes to a different Rochester high school, and did not walk out of class. She goes to a different one. They're going to have another walkout actually at her school this upcoming week. But I want to know what all of you are thinking about this. And is this something that you promote? Is this something that you support? I'm going to have an interview with that mother coming up in just a few minutes. So I want you to take a look at this interview and see what she's going to have to say. Viola, thank you. Going to locals. Thank you, Viola. In Texas, we had snow a week ago. It all melted yesterday, says Jesse. A lot of people still talking about the weather. Talk about that weather. That weather is something. These are just some of the comments coming in. Elva on X, 37 degrees in Jacksonville, Florida, down to 27 tonight. Wow, it is a cold one in Florida as well. But I don't feel sorry for you. I don't really feel that sorry for you, given that we are under, I think it's below zero here in Michigan right now. I have to go to the store in just a little bit. Hello, Pastor Mike and Kathy watching on Substack. If you're watching on Substack or Locals or X, I encourage you to become a paid subscriber. If you're watching on Substack, click down at the bottom where you can comment, and only paid subscribers can comment. It's $6 a month. You can quit whenever you want, but I can't keep doing this work without paid subscribers. I put everything out here for free. Always. Most everything is for free, but I can't keep doing this work without paid subscribers. So click that link at the bottom right there to help me continue to do my work. KC Silly says radicalizing these kids and using them as pawns for the Democrats' agenda is sad and should be illegal. That's according to K Silly Self 313. Lots of people are feeling that way as well. Other people are saying that they should be allowed to protest, and that the kids need to be taught about what's going on in society. Someone here, Denise, says, I'm sorry, but I will educate my children and grandchildren on the right way to behave in social interactions. I do not impose. I do not want to be imposed upon, nor for my children. That is Denise comment right there watching on YouTube. Yeah, a lot of people are feeling that way as well, that the schools should not be, what some are saying, indoctrinating students when it comes to turning them into activists, that it's not a place for the public school system to do. So there's obviously several sides to the story. There's several opinions, and I'm just trying to present all of them to you. But I do have an interview tonight with a parent in the Rochester School District. Now, she is a parent who has been actively involved in the district, letting her voice be known. She's not happy with certain things that are happening in these districts. Jordan Gray is watching on YouTube as well. Jordan, these protests suck. Kids and adults alike should just live their lives and not worry about walking out, which makes no difference, according to Jordan Gray. Jordan, usually you're over on our Locals channel, but I know I can't bring up your comments on Locals. I appreciate that. So, okay, let's get to our interview with the mom. I want you to listen to what she had to say. We also dig into the protests, but also about what is going on in the public school system. Why are public school systems now becoming activists, many say, instead of just teaching kids? Okay, let's take a look. And yeah, Jordan, you are everywhere. Hello, everyone. How you doing? Joining me on the screen right now is Michelle. She is a parent of a high school senior in Michigan, Rochester, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Rochester making the news partially because I put out there on social media, I think it was a superintendent released a letter to parent. Was it the superintendent?
It was the superintendent who issued a letter kind of thoughtfully letting us parents know what was going on.
Okay.
And, although that was a great thing, truly communication is key.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of varying reactions to his letter of letting us know about what was going on.
So basically it was that the students, some of them or many of them, and I don't know, I'll ask you if you know, walked out in support of or protest of ICE in the
ICE in
situation
general,
in
right.
Minneapolis. That's what basically what it was about?
Right. The current situation, they're in that mindset of uh, get ICE out,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to read it. This is his letter. I'll read it here while we're here because I want to be fair and give his side of it.
Sure.
And his name is Nicholas Russo, superintendent.
Mhm.
And they have a Josh Wrinkle, principal, it looks like, on the name on there as well.
Yes, he's the principal at Rochester High School that had their walkout last week. There's another school that's planning one this week.
Oh, boy. Okay. It says, as you may be aware, businesses and schools are participating in the lockdown on January 30th to protest recent immigration and customs. Some Rochester students organized a respectful and peaceful walkout today during second hour. Demonstration was not a school-sponsored event. However, the safety of our school community is always our priority. Recognizing students have the right to free expression. Administrators, the Oakland County Sheriff, and SHIELD partners. What's SHIELD partners?
Those are various security professionals and or the sheriff that work with the district to, keep safe the district and, the various buildings. They participate in various ways.
I got you. They were available to ensure a secure area. At Rochester schools, we strive to develop innovative, self-directed learners who think critically, communicate effectively. So, they say they didn't organize it. According to this, it doesn't sound like they say the school didn't organize it. But I take it as if reading this that they support. What do you take reading that?
Well, knowing the district as I do, I've been in the district for many years. We're at the tail end of our time here at the district, so I've seen all the transitioning from one way of thinking and to a new way of thinking, if you will. However, this letter immediately just kind of hit me. I don't know if it's hypocritical or if it's unaware of what he's saying, because essentially he was saying, we're not organizing this and we don't have anything to do with this. As student led. And yet these kids are being allowed to leave school without repercussions of any sort. They are being, walked out with and or surrounded by and or joined by all these security staff. And that was to keep the kids safe. I don't know what they thought was going to happen. However, this was keeping the kids safe. And but then by the end of the letter, he's doing nothing but completely championing how proud they are of the students that they have brought up to think this way and be this want to take action and whatever exactly his words were. I honestly, I don't remember exactly.
Yeah.
But that kind of attitude of, well, okay, but that's not what we're asking. Parents are not asking you to produce activists. Parents are asking the district to produce, advocates and critical thinking people to become adults that will then get to go vote and learn how to appropriately, effectively, productively advocate for a cause.
Did parents have to approve of if their kid wanted to?
No. There was no, there's nothing like a permission slip or anything like that for any of this. My daughter happens to go to Rochester Adams High School, which is going to be, their walkout is supposedly scheduled for this week on the 2nd. And I talked to her about it. She didn't even know it happened or was going to happen. You know what I mean? Like whatever this graphic is that they've sent out on Instagram, Snapchat, whatever their internal student channels of communication might be.
Yeah.
She didn't know about it. And I said, well, I don't encourage you to join in on this because first of all, you're missing school. And second of all, this is nothing. And this is what we've been teaching our kids here. This is performative. And we went into a lovely discussion about how, the people that are out on the corner at Walton and Adams and the last few weekends, and they've been marching with their signs, that is being an activist productively because they are getting their message out there. They are out there no matter the weather. They are out there right on the corner. They aren't, protected by cars going by or anything that's going to happen to them. They are putting themselves out there with everything they've got to advocate for something. Kids at school on school property during school hours with staff and security professionals watching them is not anything but performative.
Yeah, and we're not saying, because I got criticized online when I posted that. I support if a parent, students, people want to protest, they want to do whatever, you can do so on your time, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
right? So if you want to go out and whatever you want to protest, you want to
Right.
stand out on the street, you can do that. But the main issue with this is that it happened during school time and that the school even took a stance on it.
Well, I don't know if they're trying to appear as to not have taken a stance on it because they keep saying the students have led this, the students have planned this, and yet they wrap up their entire message with, and yet we're so proud of these kids who are, taking these actions, that kind of mentality of completely sanctioning this and approving of it. I, in amongst my discussion this morning with my daughter and another son of mine, I had said, I would actually applaud if the students wanted to rally, march, whatever, with their signs on the way to school. Then they're in the bus line. You've got parents, you've got the buses, you've got all the traffic out on Livernois Road for Rochester High School in particular. You've got these main roads that the schools are upon. You'd have much more voice. You'd have a much broader purpose to your march, and it would be on your time. And the fact that it would take effort to do that, and it would take their time, right? Not school's time. That's my whole thing, is like during school hours, no, that is completely unacceptable.
And it would, the same would be true. And I brought this up as well. What if back in September, the kids organized a walkout to where they were going to walk out and have a pop-up vigil for Charlie Kirk? Would that also be allowed? I don't know.
I would imagine it would, but we would never know about it unless it became an issue, right? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that the culture in Rochester Community Schools has not been sympathetic to those types of causes, right?
Or would they
just
support it? Would the same email have gone out, I guess?
Well, that's a good question. That's a good question. I don't know, because it wouldn't have been for trying to think of the good word for it, but it wouldn't be for negative reasons. Like, it wouldn't have been a controversy, right? There's things that kids do that they have not only the right to do, but that it's wonderful to do. Then there's things that kids do that they might have a right to do, but it's not wonderful to do, and it actually has negative repercussions on people around them. So it's my real, umbrella view of the entire situation is this is and could be a wonderful learning experience for these kids. These are high schoolers. This is secondary education. This is the time that you use current events to talk about with the kids, to teach them how to debate civilly with facts, how to use your head, not just your heart. Their hearts are amazing. These are very empathetic kids. These are great kids who know a lot, probably have had to shoulder a lot more than, say, you or I did when we were in high school, because the world is completely open to them. But nowadays, the world has dumped 1,000% more stuff onto their shoulders than we ever had to process in our heads. And so what they feel so bogged down about in their eyes, absolutely, I agree with them. What is happening is so unfortunate and horrible, and yet are they being taught why it's happening? Why it's happening, the laws that are involved, who's involved, the facts of all the parts of the equation, right? No, they're just being, oh, good for you. You go march, you don't, whatever. I just think that's inappropriate. I really do.
So you're saying this situation that's going on with ICE and Minnesota, it could be used to teach, or it could be a lesson about law enforcement, states versus federal rights, things like that. And the school districts can do this, you're saying, without advocating for a certain side, but allowing to dig into the issues. But the schools, you're saying, should not be activists.
Right. That's exactly. You can always be an activist on your own time, because that's honestly when it matters. If I take time out of my day to go and champion an issue, that's at the cost of my regular life, right? Okay, I've put something on the line. It really means something to me. So I've gone out of my way to spend the time to champion this issue. If I'm at work and I just decide, I feel really crummy about XYZ, I'm going to go march, and it's hurting my employer, or it's hurting, in this instance, the school, the classes, the teachers. It's disrupting everything and everybody. And honestly, it's such a waste of energy. These kids ought to be being instructed and taught that contacting legislature, state and federal, contacting your local law enforcement people, all of those issues were so much more effective than standing outside going, I disagree with this. Great. Tell somebody who it's going to matter, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's Rochester, another school district that did this, that now there were people saying, okay, now we're going to have a walkout in support of ICE. And like, where does it stop? You get
that's when it gets beyond performative, and that's when it's just completely divisive and partisan. That's ridiculous to teach, or to, again, it's not what they're teaching them is negative by virtue of they're not teaching them the best way to be an advocate, the best way to get your voice heard, the best way to evoke change. And it's not standing on a street corner with a poster. I hate to tell you, it's just not. You've got to be spreading the word about your issue. You've got to be educating the public so that they vote accordingly.
Wow.
And it's absolutely, nobody's going to be able to convince me of anything other, because I have absolutely lived the life of championing a number of different things. And the only thing that will change the system is the system. So you have to get people in there who want to change the system, who want better. And that's what we strive for as parents currently, especially.
You have a senior. I have a 13. She just turned 13. Yeah. She's going to be, going to high school soon. Where, we talked about this before, where did this change, or has it always been like this in public schools, or what's going on? Because it seems like there's a division between parents and schools, and sometimes everyone should be on the same page.
We absolutely should. And I think teachers for many, many decades were absolutely in that partner mindset where, they had conferences and parents showed up for conferences. Yeah. They didn't not show up. They were involved. They cared about every day to day. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you got parents who are like, listen, I don't need to come to conferences. What happens at school is school, and what happens at home is home. And wow, where did we go wrong, right? As parents, that we allowed school to take over everything, all the way down to whatever, I honestly don't know what year it was, but whatever year it was when sex education started being taught at school, something like that is home-based, parental directed normally in an optimal situation. Well, school's going to take care of that. And then it was, well, now, Billy or Susie aren't required to tie their shoes by kindergarten because their age is a certain age. So they go to school. It's not about readiness for school. That all compounds upon the whole merit situation.
Yeah, like with Michigan, with the reading school, how they allowed to pass through.
Yes,
okay. So parents kind of are to blame in it, but in a way,
at the same time, it was being encouraged for, like, leave it to us. It takes a village, Dave, it takes a village. And all those types of, all of a sudden the curriculums were the whole child. We're going to teach to the whole child. It wasn't just, reading, writing, and arithmetic anymore. It was, we're going to teach the whole child. And, and we're here, we're your community. We're here. These are trusted adults, all this type of verbiage where it became school was everything, instead of school actually being trustworthy adults,
Yeah.
with my kids' life and psyche and all that kind of stuff, it kind of became, no, we're telling you we're trustworthy. So we're trustworthy, right?
Yeah.
They weren't walking the walk, put it that way. And I would say, gosh, my kids were in elementary when, so like fifth and sixth grade. So this is what, 10 or 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And they began the SEL end of things, the social emotional learning. Okay. It wasn't called that. It was not called that. It was a really interesting idea. It was not a bad idea by any means. It was a positive idea. How they were implementing it was interesting. But then it was like this segue to the next thing. And then after SEL, then it was kind of, well, the DEI came in. And the DEI wasn't just for what they really intended to focus upon. They grabbed the inclusion and the special education end of things to get everybody to, well, of course we want everybody included. That was not the point of DEI, and
Yeah.
I could talk to you for ages on that other topic.
Yeah. And then it took off.
I'm up to my nose in special education,
Yeah.
so that's another
did
thing.
COVID, and then COVID opened it up to everyone, I think, right?
It did. It really did. And so it's been a progress. It didn't happen in any, one given year by any means. It's
Yeah.
been a progression for sure.
So is it, and I know I take criticism when, and I'm not criticizing, there are most teachers are amazing people. I will admit.
The dedication is there. We've had plenty of absolutely dedicated, wise, smart, not only intellectual, but also wise and caring, and absolutely
I couldn't do it. I couldn't be a teacher.
Exactly. Exactly. But then what we're expecting them to do is that everything. Just like how many parents stood up during COVID and were like, I can't homeschool. I can't do that. How do you do that? I can't do that.
Yeah.
Well, why are you expecting then school to raise your kids morally and ethically and psychologically? That's not their world, right?
Yeah.
They're the intellect. The school is supposed to be the intellect and teaching kids how to be civil to one another, how to comport themselves socially, etc. Right? And growing empathy. Not you will feel bad about such and such because such and such. That is clearly not education.
So we're
something
not
entirely
blaming.
different.
We're not blaming. Some people say, "Oh, I'm blaming the teachers," but
No.
a lot of it is the system as well. For example, I had something last week about the Michigan Department of Education offering teachers all these classes, how to affirm gender, all this kind of stuff. So some of it's coming from above. It's coming from outside sources. It's not the teachers. So,
well, it's not that it's not the teachers, or it is the teachers. It's kind of the proportion of liberal-minded people who become teachers has just made this kind of leading with your heart mentality to your worldview is leading with your heart, which might be good in elementary school, but by the time you get to middle or high school, that needs to be nailed down, fact-based. Here we go, right?
Yeah, same thing with journalism. My job was to hire reporters and digital researchers at the TV station. It was hard to hire because they're coming out of Michigan State, Central Michigan, and they had a view. Many of them would tell me, well, I'm not covering a Trump rally, or I'm not covering a Republican event. And I'm like, no. And I'm like, what are you learning in school?
Right. They're kind of missing the point, right?
As a journalist, you are supposed to be open to everything, take it all in, give it out. And things have changed back then. I get criticized. I lean more conservatively, but I'll call out Republicans if they mess up.
Oh, heck yeah. That's why I always say I'm not a Republican. I'm a conservative. Like there's a big difference, right?
Yeah.
I'm not that divisive mind, and I don't have a lot of free brain wave time to dedicate to things other than what's going on in my family, if you will. Yeah. And so I am forced to condense things down to the core issues because I need my advocacy time as a parent to be really well spent. Yeah. So it's important that we teach kids the same. Make your voices worth more than just performance. That's all we ask as parents. I can't imagine a parent in the district or across the state of Michigan or across the entire country that doesn't want a really confident adult coming out into the world who can back up their words and who can, speak well for themselves, right?
Yeah. I think it's good. People like you and I, we're having these discussions. That's good. And as long as we can all be respectful and have these discussions, what advice would you have to other parents, maybe, that many of them are scared to speak up or they're scared to go to a board meeting? They shouldn't be, right? They should just advocate for their children and not be afraid, because that's the more discussion is better, I think.
Well, the more discussion is better. And honestly, if you're civil, there is never in any realm of adults, cogent thinking people, a reason to, mistreat a kid of mine, put it that way. In the times that I've come to the board table to try to speak my voice of opinion and or perspective on things, to encourage various issues, to discourage various issues, you make it real, you make it personal, and you state the facts and you say how you see it. It's really important that kids learn this ability, because otherwise you just have adults that get up there and rail at the microphone, and that's not going to produce anything other than perhaps trouble for your kid. I don't know. I've never worried about that. Put it that way. People know me in general. I hope so, right? Well, I guess maybe you could say the people that matter knew me well enough already because I was an involved parent. So I wasn't so concerned that, somebody was going to mistreat one of my kids in any way, shape, or form, because they knew who I was. They knew my message, even if they disagreed with it, was in earnest.
Yeah.
So it's important that we, parents understand that. Don't be afraid to speak out. If you speak out and share your, beliefs and your earnestness, and even better, back it up with facts, right? Write a letter to the board and show that you've done your homework and you have found out, this and this statistic, and simply ask them, do you know that the state of Michigan is ranked 43rd in the nation? Oh, what are we doing about that? Right.
Yeah. Or don't be afraid to run for school board. Who knows,
More importantly, Dave, very good point. Very good point. Yeah. Get up and speak your voice, right?
Yeah. Those are the many, I think last question. Those are the things people forget, how important local, like the mayor, the city council, the school board, those are really important races. And some people, they don't even go out and vote in those.
No. And this midterm one's going to be really tricky too, because just historically, obviously people don't tend to vote in the midterms, but we've got locally, like you said, it's local. There are people, a great amount of people have been screaming to the rooftops, we need local control. We need local control. Well, guess what? It's coming. So we've got to be ready for it. And we've got to be ready to support the department, the state board of ed. We've got to be ready to support our local boards of ed, so that, this local control is a positive thing and not a negative thing.
Amen. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. I'm sure I'll see you again. And thank you so much.
No problem. Thanks, Dave.
Sorry, everyone. Had some issues right there at the computer. So yeah, just wanted to know what you think. I'll bring up some of the comments right now online. Good job, Michelle. You're teaching your child some critical thinking, something that seems to be lacking these days. George McWhorter, my friend, Head Start assistant, got 2 boxes from her 4-year-old. Oh, McWhorter. George, message me. Georgie. Wow, I need to know about that. Oh, wow. Kids being kids, skipping school, following the crowd. Yeah, lots of different comments, lots of different theories about what's happening. But my job just to bring it to you and let you know, because, the mainstream media may not necessarily be bringing you all of this information. And that's why I'm here. Okay, everybody, I want to thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Have a great week, everybody. And please stay warm.